growing my own fruit is one of the most rewarding things. I mean, it's expensive when you go to the store to purchase. And so I decided I was going to start growing my own fruit many years ago. And blackberries are one of my favorites. I love making jams. I love making cobblers. I love just eating plain. They are wonderful. And so the thornless variety are my favorite, but they get very large every year. So every fall, or sometimes if I'm really busy, I cut them back in late winter, February here in Arkansas, and I cut them back to about 3 to 4 feet, sometimes even lower. And I'm going to talk about the trellis system that I have here that I use. But blackberries typically only produce one time on the canes, and so the next year it's not going to produce, and so you're going to cut it back so that it just doesn't become overgrown. Like when you see them out in the forest and they're growing and they're just a big thicket, it's because they've never been pruned back and kept under control. But most of the canes don't produce, and so when you're doing them domestically at your house, you can keep them under control by cutting them back every year. Plus, it also encourages them new growth, and you know that the new growth is where the berries are going to produce this year, and then the rest of the canes are useless. I mean, they're just taking energy away from the plant. So when we decided to grow blackberries, we did some research. There are so many different types of trellises that you can use. We were doing ours in raised beds, and so we didn't want anything that got really tall because you know you can't get up there to harvest it. So we decided we were going to try the V method. And so the V method pulls the canes apart so that airflow can get down in the middle, and the sun can shine down through the middle, and you have good airflow, and it helps with diseases. And so you're keeping it separated, you're keeping them spaced, each cane, and it works really well. You can also just grow them straight up, but this is just the method we did because of the type of bed we have. So I was going to talk about the V method, and I was going to show you about when I cut them back. So in this raised bed, we have 2 cords on the bottom and we have 2 cords on the top. And it's hard to tell in the video, but this one is in about 3 inches closer than this one. This one's out here. And if you look at this branch, you can tell it's touching down here and then it's touching way out here. So it's naturally going in to the bottom of the plant. So it's creating that V. As the plant gets larger and it reaches up to here. Now, I usually cut back. This is a couple feet from the ground to here. So every year when I'm cutting back, I cut back to about this level or maybe a little bit lower. But when that new growth starts, I attach it with a bread tie, string, whatever it is I have at the time. I just wrap it around the blackberry cane and I tie it. And I tie it very tight. That way if there's a storm or something, it still has some room to move. Like I don't want it to get rubbed and damaged, but enough to where it kind of keeps it in place. So I just tie it like that and I cut it off. The next cane, I'm gonna tie it. This is one that I tied earlier, but I'm gonna retie it. I pull it over and I space them, you know, I don't know, 12 inches or so. And then I tie this one. And that way they're just not all on top of each other, and it allows for that airflow to get through there. I mean, it's not just a thicket of branches, because it can get really thick, and some of the canes can get 15, 20 feet long. As you can tell, this one's already pretty long. And then on the other side, I take the ones that are closer. There's the 2 on the other side, and I push them that way and tie. And so it's making the plant, I'm kind of training it to go that way. Now, if it was not tied, it would just all go together. So I attach it to keep it from moving, and there's no no branches growing in the middle. There are some new ones right here that are starting to grow once they get big enough to attach. Because see, right now it doesn't reach. Once it gets big enough, I will pull it over and attach it. The middle of the plant is always dry. Here in Arkansas, it's very, very humid, and so it's really easy to get diseases. So we have to look for all different ways that we can keep the inside of that plant dry, create airflow, and so this method works really good for raised beds, and it's pretty easy to do. Just make sure when you're buying the cord, you get the kind that has plastic, or it's a rubber coating, I guess, because the metal can rub the plant. We tried just cord one year, but it dry rots. So we upgraded to the metal cording that's covered in the rubber. And I mean, we've had this for 8 years and it's still doing well. So I hope that helps. Try the V method. Like I say, there are other methods. This is just the one that works best for us. All right, follow Green Thumb if you need any other tips on growing fruit, vegetables, or even just flowers in your flower bed. Happy gardening.